When I started my career as a financial advisor, I don't know about you, but there were three things that I really wanted. The reasons why I became a financial advisor in the first place. So the first one was I wanted impact. I wanted to be able to serve people. Like it was great working in a 9 to 5 job, and I enjoyed working at my old companies when I worked at PricewaterhouseCoopers, and it was great working at Ralph Lauren, and all of it was enjoyable and it was fine, but I didn't feel like I was actually helping anyone. Like working at Ralph Lauren, I'm just helping a clothing company sell more clothes. Didn't really feel like there was a lot of purpose or like bigger mission behind the work. And so the first one, when I became an advisor, was I really wanted to help people. I really wanted to impact people. The second reason I became an advisor, probably again similar to a lot of you, is I wanted income. I wanted to make a lot of money. I wanted to run my own business. Coming from the 9 to 5 world, coming from corporate America, I was making six figures when I quit Ralph Lauren. I was just making $100,000, and that was amazing. But I had just gotten this raise, and I kind of realized like I wasn't going to get another raise for at least another 2 to 3 years. And that really kind of didn't sit well with me because I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I'm working really hard, I'm putting in a lot of energy and a lot of effort. Why am I going to be capped at a certain amount of money that I can make? So the second reason I became a financial advisor was for the income. And then the third reason I became a financial advisor is for the freedom. And so when I was interviewing and thinking about becoming a financial advisor, I desperately, desperately wanted freedom. That was the reason I became a business owner. That's the reason I started my entrepreneurial journey. That is the number one core value that I have as a human. Like, I am obsessed with the idea of having freedom of my time, freedom of my location, freedom to impact people, freedom to make as much money as I want. And again, coming from corporate America, I knew what it was like to have to ask your boss for permission to take vacation. I knew what it was like to only have a certain amount of days in a year that I could take for vacation. And so this idea of running my own business and kind of being my own boss was really appealing to me when I was thinking about becoming a financial advisor. And when I started the career, so when I became a financial advisor, and I took the leap, I'll never forget one of the reasons I became an advisor. One of the reasons I said yes was because I was talking to one of the other advisors. He was like the head of the office at the time, and this is back in 2017. And I remember talking to him, and he was sharing with me like what his day looked like. And he's like, "Yeah, I went for a bike ride this morning, and then I took a shower, and I got into the office around 11 a.m." And so, as somebody coming from corporate America who was like in the office at like 7:30, 8 a.m., I heard that and I was like, what? You went into the office at 11 a.m.? That like blew my mind. I was like, I want that. I want to be able to ride my bike in the morning. I want to be able to have a leisurely morning. I am craving this level of freedom. And so I decided to take the leap and become a financial advisor. And being a financial advisor, in my opinion, is such an amazing path. It's such an amazing job opportunity and career because you get all of the opportunities of being a business owner, but you also get like kind of like a franchise. So it's not like nobody's ever been a financial advisor before. So the pathway to success is not totally like unclear. You're not starting a brand new business or inventing something. You're just following a pathway to be successful. Now, when I started as the advisor, I wanted freedom, and that's why I started the career. And similar to a lot of you, I'm guessing that when I started, I wanted all this freedom, but I was hit really hard in the face with the fact that you don't get freedom right when you start this career. Like you do not join this career, you do not start as a financial advisor and immediately get freedom. It doesn't happen like that because you're starting a business. You're starting a business, and so a business requires work. And so I was told early on in the careers, once I started, And once I realized, oh, wait, this is going to be a lot of work. This is actually going to be pretty hard to do. Like, I thought this was going to be way easier. This is way more challenging because I was building my own book, a business completely from scratch. I was in a city that I knew nobody. I knew my best friend, and she is also a financial advisor. So I couldn't connect with any of her friends. My dad is slash was a financial advisor back in New Jersey, where I'm from. So all my family and friends were already taken care of. Like my best friends from growing up, my brother, my dad obviously was taken care of. And so I didn't have a huge warm network. And I didn't really know what I was doing when I first started. And so when I started the career, I was told, like, there was this sentence that they shared with me that when I heard it, it didn't sit well with me. Like they would say it and I was like, okay, but I don't know if I want to agree with this. And what they said was, when you're a financial advisor, in the first 10 years, you are overworked and underpaid. And then after 10 years, you are underworked and overpaid. And so the idea of that is you have to work really hard for the first 10 years, and then afterward, you don't have to work so hard. And I understood that. I was like, okay, but I started my career when I was 30. So I started the financial planning career when I was 30 years old. So I had already spent 9 years in corporate America working and hustling and putting in 60, 70 hours a week. I was 30. I didn't want to wait until 40 to feel like I could finally start living my life. I didn't want to have to wait 10 years of grinding it out of 70, 80 hours a week in order to achieve this one day I would have more freedom. It kind of went against the reason why I started the career in the first place, which was to spend more time with my family and friends, to enjoy my life more, to do more activities, but also be able to impact people and make money. And so that never really sit well with me as a career changer, that I would have to grind for another 10 years. And so I set out to figure out, and side note, I'm not opposed to hard work. I still do work hard. I just define working hard differently because I don't feel like I have to work a certain amount of hours in order to have a certain amount of impact. So my life is very different now because I get to choose and I get to operate my life in a way that feels really good for me. So like when I record these videos, when I take meetings, I get to choose all of that. So it's not about not working hard, but I didn't like somebody telling me that I had to do it for like 10 years. I'm thinking to myself, I think I'm relatively smart. I don't think I'm like the smartest person in the world, but like maybe there's a possibility that I could get there faster than 10 years. And if there is, then I want to figure it out. And so when I was in the career, so when I was working and hustling and in the midst of building my business, I really was craving freedom. I was really craving freedom. And as I mentioned, like in the first 6 months, 12 months, it's really hard, honestly. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Like if you're 6 months in and you're like, yeah, Scotty, I really want freedom, then that's going to be a really challenging thing for you to accomplish. Not to say it's impossible, because anything's possible. And I want you to prove me wrong. But I will say, from my experience in being an advisor, there is a period of time early on in your career that you do need to put in some energy and effort to build your business. Unless somebody's going to hand you a book of business, you have to find the people, find the clients, learn about the products. Like it is a learning curve, and there is energy and time that is required to get there. And that's okay, right? Like that's okay. I mean, what business can you start outside of being a financial advisor where you don't put any money down? Like it doesn't cost anything to become a financial advisor. Like I always thought that was so fascinating. If you went and opened up a Dunkin' Donuts, you have to put down hundreds of thousands of dollars to build the store, to buy the inventory, all that stuff. But when you're an advisor, you can start with literally $0. Like you get contracted. Maybe there's some money that you pay for licensing and things like that. But like for less than $1,000, you can get started and you can start making money immediately. So the reality is, because you have to pay for everything, everything has a cost. as a financial advisor, to start making money, you just pay with your time in the early stages. And now what I want to share with you in this video specifically are the three things that I understood, that I unlocked, that I discovered actually lead to real freedom in this career. And so if you are under 12 months in the business, so if you're brand new in the business, I want you to take these with a grain of salt. I want you to take these with the understanding that maybe this is not the moment for you to apply them, but they're still going to be beneficial for you because these are things that you can start thinking about after you hit your 12-month mark, after you hit your 18-month mark. Because what I learned, and this is something that really, really hit me hard, is that if you do not create freedom for yourself in this business, nobody will create it for you. If you do not create the freedom for yourself in this business, nobody will create it for you. It will not get created for you. And if you're a couple years in business, if you're 4, 5, 6, 10 years in business, you know, you can tell me freedom does not just happen. Flexibility does not just happen. You don't just wake up one day, 3 years in business or 5 years in business, and boom, freedom is there. It does not work like that. You have to create the freedom in your business. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you the three things that created massive freedom for me in my business as a financial advisor. So the first one, it all comes down to knowing what to do on a day-to-day basis. So before I kind of dig into this, I'm gonna take a step back. One of the things that I observed in being an advisor is that you never really turn off, right? Like you're kind of always on. When you are out there building your book of business, when you are out there and it's your responsibility to meet new people, to meet new prospects, to get people on your calendar, your brain never really turns off because everybody's a potential client. Like there's always more that you could be doing, especially early on before you have staff. Like maybe you have shared staff or maybe you don't, maybe you have some staff, but when you're early on and you are kind of doing this on your own, there's always more you could be doing. Like there's always more you could be doing. And that's an amazing, amazing, amazing thing, but that's also a terrible thing for creating freedom, because it's easy sometimes to just feel like we could work more or work harder in order to see more success. So if there's more hours in a day, maybe you work more. And I know advisors that work 14, 15, 16 hours a day. They're up at 6 a.m. They're working at 7 a.m. They get home at 7 p.m., 8 p.m. I see advisors working 12, 13, 14 hours a day. And so what really helped create freedom for me was this idea, and I would ask myself, what does a successful day look like for me? When I finish a day and I look back at the day and I look backwards at the last 8, 10 hours, however many hours I worked that day, what would be considered a successful day for me? And I asked myself that question, and in the beginning, I wasn't really sure. I was like, I don't really know what a successful day is. But then I spent more time thinking about it, right? I got really clear on what are the actual activities that I'm going to do on a day-to-day basis. And so that might look like I'm going to do my 40 dials a day. I'm going to ask for referrals in every single meeting. I'm going to send out 20 messages on LinkedIn, right? These are the activities that I decided I was going to work on. And so when I got to the end of the day, when I was clear in what I needed to do during the day, when I finished the day, when I looked at my to-do list, if I had done those things, I was able to take a step, take a lean back, take a deep breath and say, I did what I said I was going to do. I had a successful day today. You guys, this cannot be overstated. I cannot state how incredibly important this is, because nobody out there, when you are your own business owner, when you are running your own practice, Nobody out there is going to tell you, good job, you did a great day. You did great today. You had a great day. You had a successful day. Nobody will tell you that. And what's worse is sometimes our brains trick us into thinking we're not doing enough. I didn't hit my goal this month, so I'm not doing enough. I'm not good enough. I didn't hit my goal this week, so I'm not doing enough. I need to work harder. I need to put in more hours. That is not the way to making more money, scaling your business. That is working harder, not working smarter. And so the thing that I tell clients when I work with my advisor clients and students is you could go to the yellow pages. I don't know if the yellow pages are still a thing right now, but you could go to the yellow pages and open up the yellow pages and just start calling people and be like, hey, I'm Scotty, I'm a financial advisor. Would you like some financial help? You can do that. Just because you can do that doesn't mean that you should do that. I think we can agree that that is probably not the most effective method to get people on your calendar. So just because you can do it doesn't mean that you absolutely should do it. And so that's where creating clarity around your activities is so, so, so beneficial. And I want to clarify something right now for all of you that maybe feel like you have some clarity. You're like, yeah, I already know I need to do 5 fact finders this week, or I need to get 20 referrals this week, right? Those are not activities, my friend. Those are outcomes. You do not control how many discovery conversations you have in a week, how many new meetings you have in a week. You do not control how many referrals you get. You cannot control those things. Those are not activities. Those are outcomes. And so the reason why some advisors get stuck on this hamster wheel of working, or feeling like they can never turn their brain off is because they're trying to look at outcomes and then they're doing activities that they think are going to meet those outcomes, but they're really only looking at the outcomes. Like, oh, I need to book 2 meetings today, right? I'm going to book 2 meetings every single day. So if that's what your focus is, then your day is going to become scattered because you don't know what you need to do activity-wise to make that happen. The better question or the better statement would be, how many dials do I need to make to book 2 new meetings? 50? Great. My daily activity is to do 50 dials, period. And so the clarity around the activities is what creates massive freedom because, and here's what I learned and discovered, and I want this to sink in for you. This took me years of trial and error. So I really hope that you grasp this in a lot less time than it took me. The freedom in this career comes from being able to take a break at 4 p.m. in the afternoon, from being able to go to dinner with your friends, from being able to enjoy your weekends or enjoy your mornings if you want to work out in the morning. It is not fun to be thinking about work all the time. That's what will lead to burnout is if it's 7 p.m., 8 p.m., you're at dinner with your family, you're at dinner with your friends, and you're sitting here thinking, man, I have more to do this week. I'm not where I want to be financially. I got to keep going. I really shouldn't be at dinner right now. I got to keep working. Think of that like an open tab in your browser and it's just running in the background. It's taking up all this processing power. That is not the place I want you to be. The way to avoid that, the way to clear that is to have clarity in what to do every single day. So what do you need to do on a day-to-day basis so that when you finish the day, you can look back on the day and say to yourself, I did what I said I was going to do. I know that these activities will yield the results that I'm looking for. I can take time off. I can enjoy myself. I can take a step back and I can enjoy my day. I can enjoy my afternoon. I can enjoy my evening or my morning or whatever it is. So that's the first key to unlocking freedom is clarity around your activities. And that might seem a little counterintuitive, but when you have more clarity around your activities and what to do every single day, the easier it'll be to turn off at the end of the day and actually achieve that freedom. And the same concept goes if you want to take a day off during the week. So let's say you want to take every Friday off. Great. Take your Fridays off, what needs to get done Monday through Thursday so that when you take Friday off, you can say, great, I had an amazing week. I did what I said I was going to do. I can take this day off in peace, in calmness, in tranquility. And I know my business is still moving forward because I did what I said I was going to do Monday through Thursday. Okay, I want to move into the second way that I achieve freedom in my financial planning business and that you can achieve freedom as well. And this comes down to one beautiful word, one of my favorite words in the English language, delegation, delegating. Now, one of the pathways to actually being a business owner, to running a business, to running an actual business in as a financial advisor is having staff, is having people that you can delegate work to. So this will probably come as no surprise, but so many of the advisors I talk to on a day-to-day basis, week-to-week basis, they get really nervous about hiring staff. They get really anxious about bringing on a staff member. They know they need to do it, but they don't know how. They don't know how much they should pay them. All of that, totally valid, totally understand. In order to actually run a business, for you to actually be a business owner and achieve freedom, there have to be things that you are able to delegate to somebody else so that your business will move forward even when you're not working. So imagine hiring a staff person and you no longer need to do all of your investment applications, your insurance applications. You no longer need to call clients when they have a quick question on something. You're able to have somebody managing your inbox and your calendar, and you're able to take time off because there's going to be somebody there that will be able to work on your business and move things forward even when you're not there, even when you're not working. And one of the things that my team and I decided is that when I take vacation, my team can't take vacation. And when my team takes vacation, I won't take vacation. And so it's a beautiful way of setting up your business in a way where you're able to actually disconnect. So when I take a vacation, I plan for it, I prep for it, and my team knows. And then I put an out of office, and then my team can handle everything on the back end, can handle everything externally so that when I take time off, I truly have more free time. Delegation and hiring staff are absolutely, absolutely crucial to building a successful financial planning business that has income, impact, and freedom. I don't know of one advisor out there that has no team and that has a really successful, really freeing financial planning business. I do know a lot of advisors, myself included, that have teams of people that have 1, 2, 3, 10 people on their team. And because of the people that they have on their team, they are able to focus on their zone of genius, the things that they are best at. And as the CEOs of our business, the things that we are best at are generating revenue. So number 2 is delegating, hiring staff. Now, if you're in the place in your career where you're sitting here thinking, that would be great, but I can't afford $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 a month in staff expenses, I want to share with you, when I hired my first staff person, I was paying for about 5 hours of their time, maybe 10 hours of their time, and I was paying about $500 a month. So I got 5 hours a week, maybe 10 hours a week, and I was paying $500 a month. So I just went to another advisor and I said, hey, can I use your staff person and I'll pay you a little bit of money? And she said yes. And therefore I hired my first staff person, but I didn't hire them full time. The woman that was working for me was incredible and I adore her and she helped me grow so much, but it was only 5 hours a week. Like it wasn't that much time. But it was a way for me to get comfortable with having somebody on my team, get comfortable with delegating, because guess what? That's a skill set. Getting really good at delegating, getting really good at being a boss is a skill set to develop. And I don't know about you, but when I was in corporate America, I was not at the level, I was not at the managerial level where I had staff people. So I didn't know how to delegate. I didn't know how to manage a team. And so working with another advisor who already had a staff person and just paying for their time was such a wonderful way to get started. And then eventually I ended up hiring 3 staff people on my team and I had, a large monthly payroll, but that was the path that led me there. It didn't happen overnight. Okay. The third thing that has yielded so much freedom for me in my financial planning business. And this is the one you're going to want to really pay attention to. This is the one I'm most passionate about. If you want to achieve more freedom, if you want more flexibility, if you want to take more time off, if you want more vacation, you must, absolutely must create a system for prospecting to get leads and referrals on repeat. You absolutely must have a rinse and repeat process for getting leads and referrals on the calendar. Period. End of story. Now, I share this with you because if you do not have a prospecting system, if you do not have a rinse and repeat process to get people on the calendar, so let's say you don't, let's say you walk away from this video, you walk away from this training and you're like, you know what, cool, but I'm going to do it my own way and I'm going to keep throwing spaghetti at the wall. Well, as the owner of your business, your only priority, your number one priority, your number one way to make money is to get people on your calendar, to meet new people. That's it. Not that complicated of a business. Not always easy, but it's not that complicated. So if you want to make more money, you need to get more people on your calendar. And so if you do not have a process that you can rinse and repeat to get people on your calendar, you're basically throwing yourself on a hamster wheel. You're starting to run and you can never jump off. So if you try different strategies, if you are out there throwing spaghetti at the wall, trying different things, not really sure what's working, you're testing this prospecting strategy, you're testing that, you're paying consultants, you're buying leads, you're doing speaking events, you're trying all these things, you're hustling your way to success, that will never stop if you don't create a system. You're never going to reach a point in time in your career, and I know this from personal experience, where all of a sudden prospecting is just going to be easy. If you don't have a process for getting people in the door consistently, rinse and repeat, it's not going to just happen for you. I thought it would. I spent 2 years hustling, working 60, 70, 80 hours a week, getting people on my calendar. And the reason why this is so important is because everything else in your business you can delegate or you can automate. Like, you can hire somebody to book the people on your calendar once you get the referral. You can hire somebody to do the planning. You can hire somebody to do the applications, the insurance, the investments. You can hire a lead advisor to even take your meetings. You can hire and delegate and automate all of that. You cannot automate the front end of your business. You cannot hire somebody to bring you leads. You can try buying leads, but we know that that doesn't work, right? So if you want freedom in your business, you absolutely have to have a rinse and repeat process to bring in leads. You need a rinse and repeat prospecting system. And so when I was working 60, 70, 80 hours a week in the first 2 years of my career, I woke up in January, February, March of 2020, and I had made all this money and I was feeling like, okay, like I'm seeing some results, but I was miserable. I was so burnt out because I had absolutely no freedom. I spent every waking hour of my day thinking about getting more leads, getting more referrals, getting more people on the calendar. It was a constant stress in my life. It was a constant pressure of, you got to meet more people. You got to book more people on the calendar. You got to keep going, because if you don't, everything is going to crumble. Like, if I stopped prospecting, if I stopped hustling, nobody was getting on my calendar. So what is a rinse and repeat prospecting system? Well, what I teach inside of my Financial Advisor Academy is I teach 6 different funnels. Like, we need 6 different ways to get people on the calendar. When I talk about a rinse and repeat process, what I mean by that is you need to be able to do it week after week after week. You have to know that when I do these activities, these outcomes will come. I will make more money. People will get on my calendar. Boom, peace of mind. That allows you to take time off. That allows you to create freedom. So when you systematize the front end of your business, for example, you have a LinkedIn campaign that's working and booking you 3 meetings per week. You have a no ask inbound lead process that you've trained your clients to refer you business. In your meetings, you have a prospecting process that is so smooth that clears objections effortlessly. So you're getting 2, 3, 4 referrals in meetings. You're using email marketing to blast off one message to hundreds of people to get people on your calendar. You have a DPM, or a dedicated prospecting meeting process, whereby you sit down with one person and get 10, 15, 20 referrals in one meeting. So when you have that prospecting system in place, when you have that in place and you know, okay, I need to do one DPM this week, send out this many messages on LinkedIn, I need to train this many clients to refer me business. When you know that and you automate that and you systematize that and you do it week after week after week, then 90% of the work that you're doing, running around like a chicken with your head cut off, disappears. The stress disappears. The anxiety disappears. Because you know, right? I want you to think about this. If you knew, hey, do these 5 activities this week, and next week you'll have a full calendar. If I told you that, do these 5 activities, next week you'll have a full calendar, and it worked, and you had a full calendar the next week, would you feel an anxiety or stress? After a couple of weeks, I'm going to guess not. After a couple of weeks, you're going to be sitting here thinking, I know exactly how to book on my calendar. So now in my career, in my business, when I wake up on a Monday or a Tuesday or a Wednesday, I have no anxiety about my next week. Like, I still feel anxiety. I'm still human. Like, I still feel levels of stress periodically, but I don't ever feel stress about who's signing up, who is on my calendar, what do I need to do? I don't ever feel stressed about that because I have a system. I know exactly how to get people on my calendar. I have a process. It's rinse and repeatable. And every single time I do it, I get better and I get better and I get better and I tweak it and I tweak it and I tweak it. And my process is so robust and so streamlined that I'm not sitting here thinking, what am I supposed to do today? What do I do next week? What do I do next month? How am I going to hit my goals? All that I already know that. I already know how I'm going to hit on my goals. I'm going to just do these activities because I have a prospecting system in place. So these are the 3 things. If you can, number 1, know exactly what to do on a daily basis. So you have radical clarity around your activities. Number 2, you can delegate and hire staff, even if it's part-time, even if it's a little bit. If you can delegate and hire staff, all the back end can get taken care of. And if you can create a rinse and repeat process for prospecting, if you can create a rinse and repeat prospecting system, then the front end will get taken care of as well. You put those 3 things together, boom, your schedule and your calendar is going to start to open up for you. Because all of the space that you were spending stressing and thinking about getting people on your calendar and prospecting and trying different strategies is all going to clear. And you'll be able to focus on the things that are most effective, most impactful with your time. You're not going to be sitting here thinking, what should I do with my time? Well, I don't have enough meetings next week. Let me just hustle my way to success. That's the old model. The old model is, I'm not seeing the success that I want. Let me work harder. We are throwing that model out the window. And the new model is, I'm going to work smarter, not harder. All right, my friends, I hope you have an incredible day. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you in the next episode. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care.